Mr. Roberts.
Hello, sir. Is it just us? Yeah, it's just in a minute.
Paul, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Mike? I can hear you.
Hi, I can hear you now. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. You well?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good.
Just enjoying a little bit of the sunshine today, so it's all...
Yeah, same. Like I said, it's my son's birthday. He's 17 today, so I've been
Wow.
a little bit lively.
You having a good day? You having a good day?
Yeah, I'm having a lovely day. It's
Good,
been nice. And we've got two people jumping on here.
Yep. Good evening, everyone.
Anyone say they're all muted?
Oh, they're still connecting.
All right, give me a sec. I've got to mute for a minute.
No probs. Hello and good evening to everyone who's joining. Welcome to this evening's Deal Clinic. We'll just be waiting for a few minutes for additional attendees. But, just familiarize yourself with the page. There is a chat box. If you've got any comments or want to say hi, feel free to type in there. But we're just sort of waiting for everyone to come on before we kick off. So just bear with us. Hello, Ingrid. I can see you trying to connect. Queen, Gina Walker, Rose Ellerton. Good evening, everyone. Just want to be sure that everyone can hear. So can you type a comment in the chat just to say yes or hello, just so that we can hear you all, or just so that we're aware that you can hear us? If you're able to do that, that would be fantastic. Hi, Bethany. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing? You okay?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Sorry, I missed that. What did you just ask everybody to do?
I was just asking everyone to either say hello or put a comment in the chat box just to say they can hear. So there's a few comments coming through. So
okay.
Yeah,
good.
Perfect. I can hear you.
Good. Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you, everyone. Loud and clear. Yes, we can hear you. Good. So we'll just give it another couple of minutes just for a few more attendees, and then we will do it. So I will be back in 1 second. I'm just going on mute. Bear with me. Okay, I am going to attempt to share my screen. So just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so Bethany, I can see you. Can you see the BPG UK background?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So you guys can see the screen. Good. All right, so we'll give it a couple of minutes and then we'll just come through.
Hi there, how's everyone this evening? It's Rose.
Hi, Rose.
Hello.
A few more people joining.
Okay, so let me just turn my video back on. Video. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining this evening. I just need to see if you guys can just type hello or hi or something in the chat box. I just need to see where this comes up on my screen whilst I'm sharing my screen. So you can just put some comments in the chat box so I can see exactly where that is coming up. That would be fantastic. Okay, great. Brilliant. Okay, so welcome everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the Black Property Group UK's Tuesday Deal Clinic. My name is Michael. Tonight I'll be hosting the call, so do bear with me if I'm a little bit rusty at trying to present, talk and coordinate all the stuff that's going on my computer screen at the same time. But welcome everyone. It's great to have you here. And let's get into it. So it's the Property Deal Clinic hosted by the Black Property Group UK. We host these every Tuesday around 7:30. In my haste to prepare a presentation, I didn't actually put the link in, but you should all have been emailed or should all have access to the Zoom link to join. It does actually take you through to an Eventbrite booking page where you can book future date events. As I said, we have these every Tuesday. It'll be the same time at the same place on the same ID. So feel free, to go in and book in advance. Just don't do what I do and don't set yourself a reminder to join. So make sure whatever date you book to join, you set yourself a reminder. So welcome everybody. Just a little bit of a background about the BPG team, who we are. So there's Hannah. I was hoping Hannah would be on to just say hi, but I know she's had some personal issues to deal with today. Myself, Michael, Paul, who I believe is on the call, and Rosemary. Most of you will be familiar with us. You know, we've run a lot of networking events. We've done a lot of these webinars and Zoom calls and stuff like that. So hopefully most of you will be familiar with us. If you're not, feel free to drop a message in the chat box and, you know, we'll give a little bit at the end to sort of give a little bio as to who we are, what we're doing in the property industry. So again, welcome everyone. Lovely to have you all here and let's get into it. So the Black Property Group was founded and we created a vision. And that vision that we created was that we wanted to connect, share and facilitate. Now, in itself, it doesn't mean much, but there is an emphasis on each of those words. Hence, we use that as our strapline. So the connect aspect is that we want to connect with our community. So we used to, like I said, before COVID-19 and all this kind of lockdown stuff that's going on at the moment, we used to host regular networking events and get-togethers where we had industry professionals, people who are very successful and doing great things in the property arena, to come down and present to our members. So it was an opportunity for our members to increase their knowledge, get some valuable insight into what's going on in the property world, as well as having the opportunity to network with a core group of members who are of varying experience level, but giving you an opportunity to increase your network and increase your base. So that's the connect aspect. The share aspect is that we come together in order to share our knowledge, our skills and our contacts. In this day and age, it's very, it's difficult if you're starting out on your own and you don't have access to resources, you don't have access to people who are skilled in particular areas, or people who have the knowledge to do what it is that you're attempting to do. So again, the share aspect is us coming together, sharing the knowledge, sharing skills and sharing contacts. And part of that sharing knowledge and skills, I guess, is why we've taken the physical networking events onto this online platform so that we can continue to help and share and grow that knowledge with our members. And then finally, it's the facilitate aspect, and the facilitate is the opportunity for wealth creation, and that wealth creation comes from using property ventures as the vehicle to do that. So there are a lot of people in this world who are extremely rich, not just because of property, but partly and mostly because of. And we want to be able to have a slice of that pie ourselves and not just sort of sit back and watch others doing it. So it's connect, share, facilitate, and that's the strapline and the vision for Black Property Group. So we have a number of different chat platforms where, or social media platforms, I should say, where we try to engage with our members and we have the opportunity to connect, share and facilitate. And our handle is @BlackPGUK, and we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we have a private Telegram chat group, we have a mailing list, and also a website. So if you guys, I don't know if you want to just quickly grab a screenshot or take a note, but it would be great if you could join us on one of these platforms to help us increase our member base. And obviously, your network is your net worth. So the bigger our network is, the greater our net worth increases. Second. Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, as I alluded to, the connect, share, facilitate, share what you know to help others grow. So again, that's just one of the things that went out across one of our social media platforms this week. And I thought it was very key. There are a lot of people who, they're very introverted with their knowledge and their information. And we try to be extroverted in terms of being open and sharing that with our members. We don't charge for things like this. We just want to share as much knowledge and information as we can to equip our members, our community, first and foremost, to be able to go forth and prosper, as they say in the old Star Trek. So share what you know and help others grow. So at this stage, it is a deal clinic. So what we'd like to do is, if there is anyone that is on, if you have a deal or something that you are looking into or looking at the moment, you're not sure how to work your way around it, or you just want another set of eyes on it, then please do share it now. Now is your chance to do it. Is there anyone on who has a deal to share, has a particular property conundrum that they want to try and unlock? Don't be shy. You can either just put the information in the chat box, or you can just come on and share your information.
Yeah, I've got a deal. My name's Kent.
Kent, hi, how are you doing?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me, Kent?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Good, good, great. So yeah, so
I can, yeah. Say that again.
what have you got? What is it that you wanted to bring to the forum?
Yeah, it's a 5-bed, 2 reception room house. It needs a lot of work. The asking price is 1.1.
I'm sorry, Kent, you're cutting in and out quite badly there. So I got 5-bed, and then I didn't really hear much more after that.
What I'll do is I'll put it in the group chat.
In the chat box, yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, cool. So yeah, so we'll just give Kent a second just to share the deal that he wants to discuss. And hopefully we can all learn from it or give our opinion and our view as to whether we think it's good, bad or otherwise, or to help him move forward with the opportunity. So just bear with us whilst Kent gets the information to put into the group. Kent, are you still there? Okay. So 5-bed, 2 reception, South London, asking price 1.1 million, needs a lot of work. All right, so that's the opportunity. So what's your issue, Kent? What is the problem? What is it you're not sure about? Just type it into the box and then we'll try and respond accordingly. Looks like he's dropped off. Has he dropped off? Yeah, oh yes, no, he's still here. Sorry, just bear with us a second. Yes, Kent. So, yes, I do need some more info, please, because you've given the description of the property, but I don't know what the problem is. Are you trying to get access to funds? Do you want to know what best to do with the property? I don't know what your question is. So, if you can just tell us what your question is, and then we'll aim to answer it.
Okay, so yes, I am trying to access funds. So working with an investor on a JV project. I've done the numbers with regards to HMO. The numbers don't stack up. So I'm thinking of trying to convert it into two-bedroom apartments, but I'm not too sure if that's actually possible. So am I able to send the floor plan across? Would that help? Or
Yeah, it would be useful. Can you have you got the image?
I have, yeah.
Share your screen, Ken. Have you got the information on your screen? Do you want to share your screen and then we can just have a look at it from your screen?
Yeah, sure. Hold on.
All right, so let me just stop sharing so that you can share, and then we'll come back.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep. You and your lovely partner and loads of apps.
Yeah. Hold on. So that's the floor plan.
No. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So can we
So is it?
zoom that in a little bit?
All right. On the ground floor.
All right. So ground floor, you've got 2 receptions, hallway, downstairs toilet, downstairs bathroom off the kitchen. Okay. Yep.
And then first floor, that's the first floor.
So first floor, 3 bedrooms, a WC and a bathroom, little storage room. Okay.
And then the second floor.
So is this actually up in the loft, this second floor?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay. All right. So 4.3. Okay. So this is on for 1.1 million. What area is it in, Kent?
Forest Hill, South London.
Oh, Forest Hill. I'm very familiar with that. Whereabouts?
Let's literally it's a 10-minute walk from the station,
Okay.
even less than that.
And it's on for 1.1. That sounds a bit rich though, especially in the current climate.
I've offered 880.
And what did they say?
Send me proof of funds,
Okay.
which I don't have.
Okay. So
So that's my next question. How do I get around that?
yeah. So just sorry, going back to the offer that you made. You said that you were considering doing this as a HMO. So how many rooms do you think you could get out of that as a HMO? Because I wouldn't be spending the best part of £1 million on a HMO, to be honest.
Neither would I, because I offered like 20% below market value. But no, sorry, it's just before. I did say HMO, but I think we got cut out. So what I was saying before was the numbers didn't stack up as a HMO.
Okay.
Even if I turned both of those reception rooms into like 2 bedrooms, the numbers didn't stack up. So what I was thinking of doing is trying to convert the first floor as a 2-bed apartment and a second floor.
Okay.
And I spoke to the agent, and they said that if we was to do that, each could sell for between 600 to 700.
Okay. So yeah, that's the first thing I would have said to you, is to get some sort of comparable, some sort of agent valuation in terms of what a 2-bed or a 1-bed flat, whatever it is you're proposing to split it into, what they would go for. And then you would looking at that, you would then have to work your numbers backwards. So what is the whole thing going to sell for? You know, what's it going to cost me in fees? If I have to finance it, what's it going to cost me in financing costs? And then, you know, on top of that, obviously, then you have your build costs. So once you factor all of that in, if you could still make a profit out of it, then it's something that's worth looking at. However, you've said that basically you don't have the funds, so you're looking for proof of funds, yeah?
Yeah, well, yeah, but a JV partner to work on that.
Yeah. So what you're going to need to do in this instance is put together a really solid business proposal. So have you ever sort of gone to a bank with a business plan for funding or anything like that at all?
I haven't, no, but I'll just have to do research online and figure it out.
Yeah. So you're going to have to put together a solid investment, and then you're going to have to start sharing information around the deal that you have, sharing the numbers, what the potential return is that you're offering to your investor. So are you offering your investor a fixed return on the investment? Are you offering them a share of profits? You know, are you, whatever your exit is, particular property, so is it refurb and flip? So yes, am I offering a share of profits or a return on investment? I'm going to refurb, sell 1 unit, keep the other for cash flow. So if that's what you're doing, how you're going to repay your investor, what are you offering them off for cash flow, maybe to sweeten the thing. So there's basically a lot of points that you would have to, first and foremost, you would have to create the plan of what it is that the actual prospect is, what the opportunity is. So this is the property, this is the location, this is the purchase price, here are my comparables, i.e. Valuations given by estate agents, valuations based on comparables within the local area, so sold properties that are similar to that within the last 6 or so months that are in the area. That kind of gives you your numbers basis. And then, sorry, there's someone with quite a bit of background noise. I don't know if that's Paul, let me just mute him quickly. So that will give you your numbers basis. And then in terms of the return, once you've done your numbers and you can see what your profit margin is, you will be able to say, okay, this is our potential profit margin off of refurbing and selling the units, refurbing and renting them, whatever it is. I'm looking to offer you a 6% return on your investment. I'm looking for X amount. I'll give you 6%. If you can give me more than that, then I can increase the percentage return or potentially offer you a share of profits. So for example, I had an opportunity that I was putting out to investors not too long ago. It was to build a 3-bedroom house in East London. And I had 2 offers that I put out. So I did exactly what I explained to you, listed the opportunity, the cost breakdown and the return. I put 2 offers out. One was to do a percentage return on investment. And the other offer was to do, if you're able to give me a larger amount, if not all, then it would be a profit share. Because you have to weigh up your costs between your physical finance costs. So whatever the gap between your JV investment is and whatever it is you have to go externally to the market for, that external market money is going to cost you potentially a lot more than your JV money. Yeah. So if you can get more out of your JV partner in terms of getting them to cover more of the debt or the investment that's required for this particular project, it reduces your liability to your external finance partners, and therefore you have to be able to offer them more as a result. Yeah. So the reason I put it out twofold was because I was trying to go for the latter on my investment. I was trying to get the majority of the investment that I needed from my particular JV partner or the group of people that I was talking to. Now, I'm quite happy if I don't have to put any money into this project. Obviously, I sit on the project, I oversee it, I manage it through to completion, I sell it, and then I take my share of profit. I'm more than happy to give away a nice sizable chunk of that profit to someone who's funded the entire project. I'm not going to try and be stingy and say, look, I'll just give you 6% return on your funds or 10% return. I'd happily give them 20, 30, even 40% of the profit. I mean, why the hell not? Because whatever I get out of the deal is free money at the end of the day, you know? So when you are sort of preparing your business pack or your investor package, just bear that in mind in terms of what it is that you're asking for and what it is that you're willing to offer. Because it's better to have a percentage of something or a percentage of nothing, basically. So, you know, just weigh it up like that. For your first project, Ken, or have you done stuff like this before, or?
No, this is my first one.
It's your first one, yeah. So
It's my first, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I would say be very careful because for your first project, that level of, you know, you're going to need to be able to back this opportunity up with some level of security as well. Personal guarantees. Do you own assets yourself or anything like that? Or
No.
no. Okay, so for your first project, it's probably quite a big leap. Let's say the real opportunity in this might be to get all of the information together, as I've said, and package it up and sell the opportunity on to someone else. and take a cut of that. That might be the better thing for you to do, because you can earn a nice chunk of, if you're talking a percentage of the purchase price, you can earn a nice chunk of money out of that particular deal without taking any risk whatsoever. And the time involvement and your sort of risk in that is just preparing a really solid investor pack. And once you've got a solid investor pack, if there's a solid deal in that, Ken, people will bite your hand off for it, I'm not fazed by the fact that it's 1.1 million, 2 million, whatever it is, If it's a solid deal, there are people out there that have that kind of money that will look at that opportunity and say, this guy has, he's dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's. He understands the opportunity for himself in order to explain that opportunity to me. I don't really have to do much more research as the investor. Obviously, every investor will do his due diligence, especially at that value. You want to make that decision as easy as possible for your potential purchaser of that opportunity. And literally for an hour, a couple hours worth of work, you could be sitting on a nice tidy sum, which when your next opportunity comes up and the agent or the owner says to you, show me proof of funds, you can quite happily show them your bank balance, because now you're sitting pretty because you made a nice chunk off of that particular deal. So I'm not saying to poo-poo the deal. What I'm saying is that research it, do some good analysis on it. You're in our Telegram group, you're on our Facebook page. If you want to put something together and then run it by myself, run it by Paul, so we can just, give it a second set of eyes and say yes or no, or work on this, Ken, or, take that out or whatever. Do that and then try and package it up and sell it. I think that would be the best thing for your first opportunity.
Okay.
Rather than trying to get writing up to your neck, best part of £1 million worth of debt. And then on top of that, you got finance costs, you got legal costs, stamp duties, you got so much additional. It's not just 1.1. 1.1 is your starting figure, So, that gets quite a bit higher. So, but a great opportunity. How did you come across it?
An agent called me, I think, an estate agent. Yeah, I got a call from estate agents. So I've just been, like during lockdown, just calling up estate agents and just seeing what deals were available.
Okay. So did you tell them that you're a multi-millionaire property investor looking for multi-million pound deals?
I didn't do the multi-millionaire part. I just said I was an investor. So
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fantastic opportunity. Well done for finding it. You're doing the right thing whilst we're in lockdown. It's a perfect time to be doing that. Do all the legwork, all the groundwork to get, start building up your contact base, building up your reputation amongst your agents. What would be really good is, even if you didn't take this opportunity yourself, you was able to sell it on. That agent, I guarantee you'll be one of the first person he calls when another opportunity like that comes up. So, if it's not for you, it will potentially be for someone. So package it. You're going to have reach amongst your own network that particular agent won't have. So you're just exposing that opportunity to another area that the agent may not have. So yeah, package it up. Let's have a chat about it in a couple of days. If you've done the work on it, we'll give it a once over and take it from there. All right.
Okay.
Brilliant.
All right.
It's
Michael, is it? Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem at all. So was there anyone else on? We tried to keep them to 30 minutes, but is there anyone else on that's got anything to discuss?
Hi, Michael.
Yeah, we can. What is no more?
Go ahead and do it. Go ahead, do it.
I'm not sure who that is. Hello?
Sorry. Hello. Hi, Michael.
Hi, yeah. I can see Palladian Healthcare. Is that who's...
That's right. Yeah, that's right. My name is Steve. This is my first time of having this opportunity to join the group, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, welcome, Steve.
Yeah. I've been looking at properties around, especially in the north.
Okay.
And like Manchester and all that. Manchester and Preston.
Okay.
I'm looking for like a 4-bed, 4 or 5 bedrooms.
Okay.
Yes. Is there anybody in the group who has anything like that for sale or anything?
well, let the group answer that. Has anyone got a 4 or 5 bed property for sale in Manchester or Preston? I see a lot of no's. So sorry, what did you say your name was?
Steve.
Steve. So yeah, Steve. So generally what happens on this call is that rather than people looking for opportunities, they actually bring something that they've found and they want
Okay.
the best
All right.
way to approach that opportunity. They want a second opinion on their numbers or whatever the case is. So you
All right.
generally wouldn't find someone on here who would say, I've got the 4 bed in Preston, do you want to buy it?
Okay.
Like I was saying, I don't know if you was on at the beginning of the presentation, we do have chat platforms, we do have a Facebook page, we do have other networking groups where if you were to join that group, put your request into the group. We've got hundreds of members in there. There's only, a handful, 15 or 20 people on at the moment. We have hundreds of members in our groups. There may well be someone who has the exact opportunity that you're looking for. And if they don't, they may well know a man that does. So if you stay on, I'm going to keep going through the presentation. There'll be a little bit of information of how to connect. So stay on, copy the information of how to connect, get connected in the group, get plugged in, ask your questions, and hopefully we'll be able to help you, okay?
All right, sounds good, Michael. Thank you.
All right, Steve, thank you for coming on and thank you for your question. So is there anyone else? I'm just reading, is Rose Ellerton, is Rose still on?
Hi, Michael. Yes, I'm still on.
Hi, Rose. So I'm just seeing you've put something in the comments. So I'm looking at a top floor conversion studio, 1 bed, needs modernisation, 66-year lease for 110K. Is this a good deal? And would the lenders lend on it at 75% loan to value? Is Paul still on the call? Or has he dropped off? Paul would be best placed to answer this. There's two answers I could give you. I don't know how much the work would cost as I haven't viewed it yet. I have the funds for deposit, but not sure how much it will cost for a new tiny kitchen and shower room, floor and deco. All right, so there's a lot of questions in there. So I'll as quickly as I possibly can go through them.
Thank you.
The first thing, the 66-year lease will be an issue. Lenders don't really like to lend when leases are that low. So the first thing that you're going to need to find out from the hub is how much is it going to cost you to do the lease renewal. All right. So 110K could be an amazing amount of money for a studio flat in that area. But if the lease renewal is going to cost you 150 grand, then suddenly it's not a great deal. So until you know what your lease renewal is going to cost you, you're hard pressed to say whether that 110 asking price is value for money. So what area is this, Rose? Whereabouts is it?
London Southeast 20.
SE20, what's that, sort of Crystal Palace, Annerley Hill?
Yes, Crystal Palace Way.
Crystal Palace. Okay, so my first property that I bought moons and moons and moons ago was in SE20. It was a 1 bed top floor flat. I paid £180,000 for it, but we're talking about it was around 2007, maybe 2008. I went on to sell that property for well over £320,000.
Right.
When did I sell Crystal Palace? I sold it, I think it was around 2011, maybe 12, something like that. So based on that, my 1 bedroom flat selling at 310 and this 1 bed stroke studio on for 110. Based on that, I would say, yes, that's a good deal. The issue that you're going to have there, like I said, is the lease renewal. And the fact that you've put studio stroke 1 bed leads me to believe that it will be a lot smaller. The property that I had in Crystal Palace was a separate bedroom, a separate very large lounge, and another massive kitchen, separate bathroom. So it was a 1 bedroom flat. It wasn't a potential studio. So there's a few more questions I'd want to ask if I was you, first and foremost around the lease.
Okay.
The lending at 75%, I was hoping Paul is our mortgage advisor, mortgage broker, sorry. So Paul would have been able to answer that much better than me. I don't think you would get 75% loan to value on a 66-year lease. And equally, because of the whole coronavirus thing, a lot of the mortgage rates have actually been reduced. So lenders are really tightening up their belts at the moment. So that 75% buy-to-let loan-to-value that they were sort of throwing out the door has actually been reduced. There are some 75%, but they're at quite higher rates. So you're looking probably more around 60, 65, maybe 70 at a push. But again, I'm not the expert on that area, so I wouldn't want to give you incorrect information. Your rent at 750. Okay, again, until you know what your initial investment is, that 750 rent and trying to figure out your return on investment, you're not really going to be able to know that answer yet. In terms of the work description, you haven't really said exactly what needs to. Let me just mute Palladium. You haven't said exactly what needs doing, so it's hard to say again how much the work would. It could be just painting, it could be replastering, it could be rewiring, replumbing. So there's quite a big variable in terms of your work cost. So what I would suggest to you, Rose, is have another look at the deal. Go back to whoever's selling it, try and find out how much it will cost. They may not give you an exact figure, but just get a ballpark figure of how much your lease extension is going to cost.
Yeah.
Based on that, you can then potentially start to negotiate that 110K asking price. The 75% loan to value thing, are you in our chat groups at all, Rose?
I've just joined today, and judging by what's coming out, I'll probably be joining every week. It's very good.
Okay, no, so we have some other chat platforms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, for the benefit of yourself and Steve, I'm just going to go back and share the other platforms that we have so that you can join in, because the reason I'm saying that, Paul isn't here to answer the question around the loan to value. So you could ask that question in the group, and then Paul or one of the other mortgage experts would be able to answer it for you. So a little bit more work that needs to do on, understanding the opportunity. And then we could sort of gauge an answer for you based on that. So
Okay.
thank you for bringing that.
Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome. Stay on for the rest of the presentation, and then hopefully we'll get a chance to discuss it further, if not next week in the group or something like that, okay?
Will do, thank you.
All right, brilliant. So we're already running at 45 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly jump back onto the presentation that I had for the benefit of those that, oops, let me come out of here. For the benefit of those that weren't here at the beginning, I am just going to go back to the beginning, but I'm going to go through very quickly. So please bear with me for those that have seen it already. And then I'm actually going to talk very quickly as well about a deal that I've recently just done. So there'll be a little bit of extra learning in there as well. So just bear with me a second. Okay, so again, if you guys could just let me know if you can see my screen, please.
Yes, we can.
You can. All right, fantastic. So that's the team: Hannah, myself, Paul, and Rosemary. The vision, I won't go too much, but it's connect, share, facilitate. Okay, so these are the chat groups that I was mentioning. So,
Michael, we're looking at your Outlook, not the presentation.
Oh, you're looking at my Outlook. Okay, so bear with me 1 second. Thank you for that. How's that happened? Right, stop share. Let's try again. All right, share screen, where are you? Okay, so share screen. Yes, you're right. Still click here. Okay. Well, can you see me or anyone else? Can you guys now see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Okay. So sorry, let me quickly flick back through then. So I was skipping through the vision, connect, share, facilitate. these are the chat platforms. So Rose and Steve, if you guys just want to take a screenshot of this, excuse me, or go on to Instagram, Twitter, what's the other one, LinkedIn, and search for @BlackPGUK. You will find us, you'll be able to join and connect with us. And those questions that you've kindly brought forward tonight, we would be able to and be happy to answer within our chat groups and various social media platforms. So yes, so moving on. So thank you to everyone who brought a deal to discuss. I'm now very quickly just going to talk through, I had this prepared just in case anyone didn't have a deal. So as you guys are on, I might as well spend another 5 minutes just going through this opportunity and sharing it with you. So I have to try and move this bar up here. Okay, so the recent deal that I've just, well, I picked up towards the latter end of 2019. It was a 2-bed mid-terrace in need of modernisation. It was a motivated seller. The property had been on the market for quite a while. It had been on for around 310,000 from memory. I think she had an offer that she'd accepted at 295 or 298. And when I say in need of modernisation, I'm being quite diplomatic. The people that lived there, they had dogs, and you know, it was a bit of a pigsty, just to be quite frank. But anyway, it had been on the market for a while. She'd eventually got an offer. It was due to be sold, and on the day of completion, so it had gone through exchange of contracts, but on the date of completion, the purchaser pulled out of the sale. I think he lost his job or whatever his situation was, but anyway, he pulled out of the sale, left our vendor or the vendor in a bit of a pickle. She'd already moved to wherever she was planning to move to. Now suddenly she had 2 mortgages on her hands. She was miles away from this particular property, and she was in a real desperate situation. I took a call from an estate agent. This deal fell through at around 2, 3 in the afternoon. I took a call from the estate agent at 4 in the afternoon. I went round to see the property at 6 o'clock that evening, and I basically put in an offer on the property that evening. My offer was quite a bit below what it was listed for. I'd had a chat with the estate agent. I've got quite a good relationship with the estate agent. He was very frank about what had happened. So I was aware and knew what I would be able to push my boat out to. So I put in an offer. Basically, the offer was accepted. And I'm just going to talk you through the process. So we'll get into the numbers a bit further down, but that was just to give you a bit of background on the deal. So when I saw the opportunity, in my mind, I was thinking it was a 2-bed property. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I can repurpose this property to a HMO. I can potentially just refurb it and flip it. Bearing in mind, you know, the market value was around 320 at the time. Even though she'd had that 290 offer, the house next door had sold probably 2 months before for 330. But, you know, it was in a much nicer condition than her house, hence her asking price. So I knew that based on my offer and what next door had sold for, if I got it up to that standard, you know, there was an opportunity to make a nice chunk on the flip. Or I could do a brrr on it, which is buy, refurbish, rent and refinance, for those that don't know. So initially, my plan was to repurpose it and go for a HMO. So what I was going to do was put an extension on the back, a 4-meter extension, which would give me the opportunity to create a communal dining and kitchen area downstairs. The front room would have become one of the bedrooms, and then I would have been able to get another double and 1 single in the extension as well. So I would have had a 5-bed, a 4 double and 1 single HMO is what I would have got out of it. Put the plans in, to and fro in with the planning department. It was loads of issues. The deadline for HMOs in that area before it became an Article 4 Article 4 area was March the 7th. And I was coming into January and I still hadn't had an answer from the planning. The first set of plans that went in got knocked back and rejected, had to resubmit plans. So as you know, the planning process is 6 to 8, sometimes even 12 weeks. So in my head, I just thought, you know what, even if I get this planning, I'm not going to get it in time to repurpose this and do it as a HMO. So in the end, I decided that what I would do is do a buy, refurbish, refinance and rent. Now in the background, I resubmitted the plans anyway, which have now come back as approved. When you submit and get approvals for plans, you have a 3-year window with which you can carry out those works. So any time between the date it got approved and the next 3 years, if I wish to go back and revisit and put that extension on and do that conversion, I can do it. Just obviously I will now have to submit an additional planning application to have it as a HMO because the area is now Article 4. So, but I have it in my pocket as an opportunity to do. And if ever I did decide to sell in the next 3 years, which I won't anyway, but if I did, you know, I can sell it with the benefit of planning gain. All right. So I bought it for 270. So like I said, it was on for 310. She'd had an offer at 290 or 295 or whatever it was. I bought it for 270. I put down a deposit of 120K. Now, the reason I did that is I like to make lenders' decisions easy. So by putting in such a large chunk of equity, there's no real tight loan to values. There's no sort of stress tests where it might fail. You know, pretty much guaranteed to get the mortgage. And hence that's why I put in such a large deposit. I also wanted the vendor to know that, you know, not messing around, I'm going to buy it. I think I got this deal completed in about 6 weeks or something like that. So, you know, and again, anyone who's bought a house knows that it can take 12 weeks, sometimes longer, 12 weeks probably as a minimum to go for a purchase. I see, Bethany, you're raising your eyebrows, so you're familiar with that. So yeah, so I completed in, I think it was 4 to 6 weeks, put in a deposit of 120. The refurb cost me £20,000, and the refurb was a complete strip out, all the flooring up, back to floorboard, replastered the entire house, rewired the entire house, replumbed, brand new central heating. So everything was brand new, all the ceilings down, just basically gutted it and had it redone for £20,000. And that 20,000 actually includes the cost of my brand new kitchen, my brand new bathroom, all the materials, fixtures and fittings that went into this property. So I got it done. I really squeezed the guy that was doing it. He's done some work for me in the past, so you know, he knows he's going to get lots of work from me. So he was happy to be squeezed at that particular time. He didn't have much work on, and hence why I got it done for £20,000. It was probably about 22, but I've just, for the purposes of this exercise, I just kind of kept everything round, or as round as possible, just to make it simpler. My fees, so my stamp duty, my legals and all that kind of stuff came up to around £13,000. So I was all in on this deal for 153,000. All right. Now I know, even at that, you know, I know that I could have got 310,000 if I'd have done it like next door did it. So I knew I was still on for a winner based on the amount that I'd invested into that property. I had a revaluation done, and my revaluation came in at 347,000. Now, this revaluation was done before the current epidemic. So, you know, I understand now that people are doing desktop valuations, the valuers down valuing. So because of that, I may not achieve the 347, but at the time, that's what I had it revalued at. My plan was to remortgage it at 75% of that new value, which would have given me 260,000. So after paying off the £150,000 existing mortgage, I would have come out of there with £110,000. So I would have left £42,000 of my own money in the deal. But I would have walked away with 42,000. I've now rented the property, and without going into too much detail, my plan was to do it privately. Private rents in the area are around £1,450 to £1,500. I've managed to get £1,630 a month for a 2-bed house in Bromley, and that's renting it to the local authority. Now, the reason is if you know how to work the local housing, I think it's called the LHA, the local housing allowance. A 2-bed is, I should have had the figures with me. I think a 2-bed is around 205 a week, and a 3-bed is something like 230 or 240 a week. Now, even though it's a 2-bed property, because the tenant that I let it to is a single mum with a female child and a male child of an age that they can't share a room, she qualifies for a 3-bed LHA, local housing allowance. So even though she's living in a 2-bed house, they will pay her the 3-bed rate. So I'm being paid the 3-bed rate. And on top of that 3-bed rate, I was paid an incentive of £4,000 to basically house this. What it is, it's the scheme is called PSL, so it's private sector leasing. And what they do is they house homeless people, and not homeless as in those living on the street. It's people who have suddenly become homeless through no fault of their own. So it could be potentially partners that are being abused and they're trying to escape their abusive partner. It could be someone who was living in rented accommodation and the owner decided to sell the property. You know, they could have lost their job and again, the owner or the mortgage company wants to repossess, so they're suddenly homeless. So this scheme, this private sector leasing scheme, they take those people, they house them for a 1-year temporary basis. They put them into temporary accommodation whilst they find permanent accommodation. So this income that I'm getting is guaranteed for 1 year. It's paid directly to me from the council. So it's not 1,600 quid a month. It's like 1,200 and something pounds a month. But with the £4,000 incentive that I was given, if I just, you know, calculate that out and divide it out over the year, it gives me an income of 1,630 a month. My mortgage based on the 260,000, and this again is an overestimation, is £500 a month. It's actually quite a bit less than that, but for the purposes of the exercise, which gives me a clear profit of £1,100 a month. Now I know people who have, you know, 5- and 6-bed HMOs and aren't even clearing £1,100 a month in profit. So I'm quite happy to basically be taking this £1,100 a month profit, which is guaranteed for the next year, because basically it's being paid to me by the council. So I'm getting approximately a 32% return on my investment, and the calculation of that is below. So the £1,100 profit times by 12 gives me 13,200 for the year, divided by the 42,000 which I've left in the deal times by 100 gives me 32% return on investment. So basically after 3 years, I would have paid myself back this £42,000 that I left in that deal. And then after that, it's 100% profit. I'll have people in there paying the mortgage for me, and it's just basically free money. Okay. So that NMLI is no money left in after 3 years, 3 months.
Michael, can I ask a question, please?
Sure. Who is that?
Ingrid.
Hi, Ingrid.
Hi. Sorry, I'm just being nosy.
Sure.
The 4K incentive, is that
Yes.
for you to have your house available for the whole year contract, or what's that for?
So the 4K is basically incentivizing me as a landlord to take on that type of, I wouldn't say vulnerable tenant because their circumstances are all very different, but that category of tenants, so the category of homeless tenants. So the council was saying to me, look, we really need to house this person for a year. If you are happy to take them on, we'll pay you the LHA, which is standard anyway. We'll do as an incentive for you taking on this person, 4,000. And again, that 4,000, I negotiated that because the rate for a standard 2-bed is actually 3,000. So, you know, in life they say it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm quite fortunate that over my years I've built up a lot of contacts, and I've got quite a nice smile sometimes, and you know, I have a way with words. So the person that I dealt with, that I met for only 2 occasions, managed to strike up a deal where he paid me a higher incentive, and obviously we struck up the deal to house that person and paid a 3-bed rate rather than 2-bed. So yeah, so that a short answer is it's an incentive from the local authority. So there are a number of different schemes that are out there at the moment, Ingrid. There's I think there's a guaranteed bond scheme. There's PSL. There's about 3 or 4 different schemes, and they all have varying levels of what it is that they will pay you and what it is potentially that they will incentivize you with. Some of them are self-repairing schemes. Some of them you take on the maintenance. So each scheme varies and has its own pros and cons. But I just went with this one because, you know, once I've done my calculations to get that return, best part of 20 grand for a 2-bed property for a year, I just thought, why the hell not, you know? And the good thing about this is, again, the gentleman that I am now quite good friends with, who housed these people in my property, he said that basically when he moves them out at the end of the year, he has a counterpart in a different local authority, and I go to that counterpart and basically do the same thing all over again. So you know, so I'm pretty much looking at, you know, like I said, best part of 20 grand a month coming out of that house easily for the next 2 or 3 years. So yeah, so that answers that. All right.
So what's the name of the scheme you went with?
It's PSL, so it's private sector leasing.
Thank you.
And the thing is, in my time, I've always, not always, I won't say all of my tenants are, for want of a better word, DSS, but I've always kind of taken on DSS tenants and not had any problems with them. And now you find that, you know, the holy grail of tenants at the moment are DSS, because you know, your money is paid to you in most cases direct by the government, by the local authority. It's guaranteed month in and month out, irrelevant of, sometimes it varies subject to, you know, the amount of income that they're earning, then the allowance that they get from the council might go down and they might have to top up. So there is some variance, but you know, you're pretty much guaranteed to get your rent. You're not going to have a tenant calling you saying, I can't afford to pay you. Can I get a 6-month payment holiday? So, you know, it seems to be the holy grail of tenants at the moment. Even the guy I was speaking to, he's like, we've had so many private landlords come in and want to offer their properties. So yeah, so that was the scheme. Here are just a few pictures of the property that I bought. So can you see my mouse moving on the screen here? Yeah. So it was this property here on the left. I don't know if you guys watch Rich House Poor House, but there was an episode of Rich House Poor House that was on Friday, and the girl next door, her name is Sky, lovely girl. She was actually on Rich House Poor House. So I'm just watching this program, and randomly they pan across the front of my house. It was probably filmed about 12 months ago. And I was like, that's the house I bought. That's my claim to fame anyway. So yeah, so it's this house on the left. This is the front room window. That's the upstairs main bedroom. Pokey little bathroom. You can see this tiny little, you know, sink that's sort of tucked between the cistern and overlapping the bath. The door, I'm literally standing at the door. The door is at the head of that bath, and above the bath is a radiator on the wall. This is some of the disrepair internally. That's what was left of the kitchen. The other side of the kitchen, there was nothing there at all. I wish I could have shared more pictures. But yeah, it was an absolute dive. Smelt of dogs. There was urine stains everywhere. God knows what dried up in the corner and stuff. But I saw beyond it. Went in, did my refurb. So it's now shiny and glossy and brand new. Originally, I was planning to rent it privately. That's why, as into a private tenant. And that's why I'd kind of gone a little bit high end with my fixtures and fittings. But, you know, for the income that I'm getting, I'm quite happy to move someone in. So yeah, so that was my deal. What next? So the what next is in terms of Black Property Group as a whole. So we have a number of deals that are in due diligence stage that we're looking at. We're assessing the opportunities. We're building our external investor lists, as well as investing in other people's projects. We also, if the opportunity arises, would want people to invest in ours. You know, at some stage you're going to run out of money, no matter how much you've got. So it always helps to build up and have a capable set of investors. We're currently marketing abandoned and derelict buildings, again, looking for our next prime opportunity, as well as our individual projects. So the rest of the team, I'm not sure if they're on, but, you know, I've got, talking of HMOs, I've actually got a 6-bed HMO that it's currently a 3-bed house, planning to do a loft conversion and rear extension, convert it into a 6-bed HMO. And I will be letting that to a supported accommodation company. So again, in terms of increasing the revenue from that particular unit, supported accommodations are generally people who are mentally challenged, learning difficulties, whatever the case is, but they need to have their own accommodation, but they need permanent support there with them, or not permanent, but on-call support with them. So they're technically special needs, and because of their special needs, the rates per room are much, much higher. So my 6-bed is likely to turn over somewhere between £5,000 and £6,000 a month. So that's my next project. I met the architect on Monday, so we did the measure up, drawing up, and so that will be stuff that I'll be sharing in the group as I go through. So hopefully you can learn from it, you can potentially be involved, or whatever the case may be.
Michael, can I ask another question, please?
Sure. Who is
It's
that?
Ingrid again.
Hi, Ingrid.
Sorry, I'm being really nosy today.
That's fine. That's what it's for.
Something that I was interested in, because I work in social care myself, in terms of
Okay.
supported accommodation.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was going to ask now. Is that something that you have to set up yourself, or you just handing your building over, your property over to someone to manage?
Yeah. So it's a company. So it's a private company who have a contract with a local authority to house their challenged, or their social. You're in the industry, so you probably know the wording and the paraphrase than I do. But the company works with the local authority, and I am giving my house to that company for them to house the tenants for the local authority.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So it's not me setting up and running my house as a supported accommodation facility.
Yeah.
Will be managing and running myself. It's almost like a rent to rent. Literally, the supported accommodation company are renting it from me to rent to the local authority. So, it's almost like a rent to rent, basically. So that's my next project. Are you in the group as well?
Sorry, what group? Sorry.
Are you in our Telegram group, our Facebook group, or any of the?
I'm on the Instagram.
On the Instagram, okay.
I'm not sure about Facebook, so I don't really use Facebook much.
All right. So, Ingrid, you can see my number on the screen. Just take a quick note of my number.
Yeah.
Just drop me a message afterwards, and then what I'd like to do is maybe just pick your brains, because obviously I know very little about the sector. Just be useful to have people that know within my network. So that would be great if we could connect. And obviously you're in the sector, so I don't know what I might be able to do for you and yours as well. So
okay, brilliant, thank you.
So that's great. So that pretty much is it. This is just a hark back to our good old days when we used to have our networking events. That's kind of what they used to look like. For those that haven't attended, different events at different times of the year. So we're looking forward to when all the restrictions are lifted, and we'll be able to get back to this more physical, in the room stuff, rather than this, scratching around with technology and not sure whether you can hear me or not type scenarios. So that's it for today. So we've gone over quite a bit. We normally try to keep these to 30 minutes, but we had a lot of questions today. and I've taken up a lot of your time. So thank you very much for your attentiveness. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for everyone that contributed with your questions. It is on every Tuesday at 7:30. So if you haven't already booked in advance, I know Lisa Newton, I've got bookings for you for as long as I can see in the future, which is fantastic. I think I just saw a question pop up, so let me see if I can access the questions. Okay, so yeah, so there are a few quick questions. Queen Bee, I'm going to skip that question for now because it's going to take a lot of answering, so I don't really want to take up much more of people's time. Are LHA rates different for different local authorities? No, the LHA rate is the LHA rate. Where it differs is if you are in London or out of London. So you can't hear me. Can everyone else hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Ingrid, the LHA rates are, you can just go on to gov.uk and Google LHA rates, and you will see that they are the same. Where they vary is if you are in London or out of London. And in fact, just to hark back to my particular scenario, my property is classed as outer London, which means it's about £200 a month less than it would be if it was inner London. So
yeah,
you can see the profit I was making off a 2-bed outer London. So if it was inner, it would be much better.
okay.
So yes, so can hear you now. Thank you, Michael. Great presentation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So guys, thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry if it was a little bit here and there. I'm very unfamiliar with doing this. It's my first time of doing it. So thank you for your patience. I hope you took away a lot of learning. And I look forward to seeing all your lovely, beautiful faces or your blank avatars next week. All right. So thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Have a great week.
Thank you.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye. 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 Now I have to try and end this. How do I do that? All right. Screen down. Stop share. Bye.